but definitely not today. Um, Defensively, we just keep watching film. We're balancing how much of it was a scheme problem and how much of it was a toughness problem. Sometimes schemes are hard to fix. Sometimes, we have certain players that are good on the ball but a little over aggressive. We have certain players that are good off the ball and are good helpers, but we just don't have a ton of synergy, which is hard to fix without practice. But I think when it comes down to, when you look at the last game, the first 35 points we gave up, 21 of them were off turnovers or offensive rebounds. That's a toughness issue. We got to take care of the basketball, and we have to box out. We have to secure rebounds before we take off. So, I think those two things are pride things that you can take care of. The schemes, LA is a difficult team to play, not a hard team to prepare for. They don't run a ton of stuff. They just have great players, and they let them play in space. So, some of it comes down to just sitting down, playing shell defense, guarding the ball, being in gaps, making them make an extra, but they don't run a ton of stuff. They don't have to.
Thank you.
Doug Feinberg, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. It's that make it more difficult to guard defensively, since it's not shutting down a player or making a play more difficult, that you have to stop a player from that standpoint?
Sometimes it is. I think, not that our statistics show up, but as a defensive-minded coach, when you know what other teams are running and you feel like, hey, if we take down this pass, if we knock down this, then they can't even run it and they can't execute. But you have to play personnel. You have to understand personnel. You have to make Rapana make twos. You have to make Nneka shoot from the perimeter. There are certain things, even though she shoots it well out there, you have to play scouting report tendencies as much as anything. And then you just have to trust your teammates. So yeah, in some ways it does. I thought last year, we didn't have a great record last year. They beat us 3 times. All 3 times were really close games. I think, we can compete with them. Everybody saw what Indy did with Seattle, where they didn't just beat them, they beat them tip to finish. So, we just have to keep grinding.
Is it important to get off to a good start tonight, knowing that once you guys fall behind, it's tough to catch up against a good team?
If you look at our first quarters, we've been right there in the first quarter against everybody. Even going back to when Seattle kind of ultimately drubbed us, we'll be in an 18-14 game and miss an open shot and then give up a 3 at, the end of the quarter. And I think that, it certainly helps to get off to a good start. But we just have to learn to grind. We have to learn that, we were down 6 the other night at half, and we just didn't get stops coming out of the gate, and we were incredible offensively. And for anyone watching the game, I'm sure it was a fun game to watch. We did a lot of fun things. The ball had tons of energy at the offensive end, but, you can't win in this league consistently giving up 95 points.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
You got it.
Lynn Jowers, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how much of an impact do you expect Courtney Benesia to have on tonight's game after having a good game on Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't think we can expect them to both score 30. That's only been done one other time in WNBA history where teammates have done that. So, I hate that for them on a night that they were so individually good that, we didn't get a team win. I think that people are going to key in on them. Certainly they, if you look at us anyway, they're the 2 players you're going to key in on statistically anyway. So, I think you're just going to see them load up more to them and make some of our other guys beat them. I thought Washington kind of left our posts alone all game long. And our posts just have to do a better job of, when do I shoot it? When do I just dribble it into the next action? If you look at LA statistically at the defensive end, they turn you over more than any team in the league. We've got to take care of the ball. They turn defense into offense. But if you can move the ball and get into secondary actions, you can get good shots against them. So, I think for them, we can't expect a repeat performance. We just have to have a more balanced team performance.
Annie Thompson, go ahead.
Nikki Thompson with the 3-point conversion. 2 questions for you. Number 1, tonight, are there going to be any changes in the starting lineup, or is it the same 5 that we had from Wednesday? And number 2, like you mentioned before, LA is not a team that does so many sets. does that make you want to change your rotation a bit because you know that LA is going to be pretty much playing the same way the entire game?
They actually play. They're a unique team in that they're playing 10 players consistently, and they've had the luxury of being successful enough that it's worked for them, and they haven't had to put heavy minutes on NECA and Candace and even Chelsea for that matter. So to answer your first question, yes, we're changing the lineup. Courtney's getting more comfortable at the point, so we're going to start Courtney at the point with Strickland and Benijah on the wings, and then Mo and he in the post, and so that stays the same. But as far as how we guard them, once again, it comes down to tendencies, and because they sub so much, you have to understand what does Taya Cooper do when she comes into the game. Like people are so worked up about Chelsea Gray, and then they want to take a break when Cooper comes in, and then she just drives in lane line drives right down for a layup. So you kind of, everybody in this league is good, and because those guys know they're going to play every game and they're going to get minutes, they come in and they look for their own shot. So we just have to understand tendencies really, 1 through 10, and sometimes 11. They sometimes go 11 deep.
Tiffany Berry, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, you know what you're going to get out of Benijah, and Courtney is certainly coming on strong. Who have you challenged in the second half of the season to really just provide an extra boost for you all offensively?
Well, certainly we've talked about it before. I had incredibly high expectations for Glory. I think it's been hard for her to find her groove for whatever reason. Whether it's new system, missing an entire camp. I think Courtney had the luxury of playing kind of for me before and playing in a system offensively that wasn't so different. I think Glory's still trying to get her footing, and I think of the people on our team that have the ability to produce, I think she's the one that could easily do more than she's been doing for us. We just, the last game, I thought Monique's energy and Elizabeth, the way they were playing, it was just hard. We've got to have more energy off the bench. It's part of why I'm bringing Blake in the game. Blake's been a starter because, kind of by default, quite frankly, for us. But she's someone that can bring us a ton of pace and energy off the bench. And it's kind of the same thing I need, when Glory comes in the game. We need her to play with some of the same energy that Monique plays with, but then she adds the dimension of having the three-point shot. So, hopefully we can get her jump started.
Debbie, we'll go back to you for the last question. Go ahead.
Thank you. Nikki, what's your gut on this? You've said you played them close. You've schemed against them. You know what kind of personnel they have. You also know, building off of what Tiffany just asked you about, who is that third person, like in this particular matchup? We know Glory can do more, and she hasn't yet. But who else do you think in a matchup with LA that you like as that third potential scorer?
Well, it kind of comes down to, like, are our guards getting us in multiple actions? Because I think this is a team that Elizabeth can score on. I think she can roll behind people with how we're playing, and teams are going to have to step up against Courtney and Benijah when they come off screen. So can we get that pocket and get her rolling to the rim? I think she's that obvious, like, kind of third person that's been there, done it, has had success against them in the past. So hopefully, we can, they've iced a lot of screens on the side. We've been pretty good offensively against ice teams when we've been aggressive. So I think that's key. And then they will switch some stuff, and then it comes down to, will our guards put pressure on their post when they switch? And, some teams have had a lot of success against them when, Brittany Sykes switches on a post in an ice when the post rolls and she gets top side, and then you just lob and play two-man into the post. So, we've got to be aggressive in switches as well, both from the post and the guard position.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everyone.